This video brought to you by Barnett, manufacturers of the finest American-made clutches since 1948. Find a clutch for your bike at barnettclutches.com and feel the Barnett difference. Hey guys, I'm Kris Keefer. Welcome to Racer X, and we are at Glen Helen Raceway today because guess what? 2026 is upon us, and this is the Honda CRF250R. Look it, for 2026, you're going to see a lot of these videos, and there's going to be a lot of them that is just going to be a rollover from 2025. Honda is no exception for this 2026 year. The 250 and 450 are unchanged. There is not one single thing that is updated or new on this bike. They didn't even put the old BNG in here because we're on the same graphic as 2025, but that doesn't stop us from riding the new bike. We're gonna go recap a little bit of what this bike does well, what it doesn't, as well as give you guys some settings, a little refresher course on what it's like to ride the Honda CRF250R. That wraps it up here at Glen Helen Raceway, 2026 Honda CRF250R. Again, no changes, same bike as 2025. Honda did come in with the 2025 Honda CRF250R Works Edition. We're going to discuss that a little bit. Brought my guy in here, Gardner Tarlow, 185 pounds, Vet B, Senior B?
Double Senior B.
Double Senior B. The reason why I brought Gardner in here, he is basically our resident Vet 250 guy. He works 5 days a week, but he does come ride 3 days a week. 2 days here at Glen Helen, maybe a day or two at another track or up in the trails. So he is a good judge of character when it comes to older guys that like 250. So we're gonna get his opinion on that. So first things first, again, no changes. So we're gonna talk about some settings for you guys right off the tip here. For me, I've learned over the past few months that I have ridden the Honda CRF250R, it is a little bit soft. As you guys know, I'm 175 pounds, but if you're anywhere 175, 160, even if you're down to 150, these settings are really good. So stock spring rate is 4.8. The height, I would like to see 2 to 3 millimeters. Tarlow will talk about that here in a little bit, where he was up at 5 and we dropped it and it got better. But 2 to 3 millimeters on the fork height really does help calm this chassis down. It is a Honda, it does feel stiff. We are in Southern California. There's a lot of carving the track and using the edges of your tires, which this chassis isn't good at. And I shouldn't say it isn't great at. It's okay, but not great. Compression, 10 to 12 clicks out, anywhere in there is a nice setting for this bike. Rebound, 10 to 11. I'm usually at 10 when I go to a softer track, and then at 11 when I go to more of a hard pack track. And then, of course, for me as well, like, these are all suggestions and you can play around with that, but that is a good baseline starting point for most of you guys that are getting a 250. Shock spring rate is a 5.0 Newton meter. Wouldn't hurt to get a 5.2. I personally like a 5.2 for me and my ability and weight. Also, if I was gonna go to spring rate, I probably would go to a 5.0 fork spring and then a 5.2 shock spring. But stock shock spring 5.0, sag 105 millimeters. High speed compression is 1 1/3, which is important. We'll talk about that. Low speed comp, 8 clicks out, and rebound at 8 to 9 clicks out. So that is a good starting point for you 2025, 2026 Honda CRF 250R owners. Now, Tarlow, you just came off of a Husqvarna FC250 that let you use for quite a bit of time. You have a lot of time on Austrian bikes, steel frame. You hop on this bike. You do have some time on a RX model for about 8 hours or so, but not a lot of time on the R model. So I guess what people would like to know, compare it to the Austrian model in terms of engine.
Well, it was a Rockstar Husky.
Yep.
So that has the ability to map off the engine braking.
Correct.
Which I like. As far as this bike stock against that particular bike, I like it. I mean, as far as the motor goes, seems to have more hit on the bottom end, a little more mid-range. Doesn't seem to have as much over rev as the Husky.
Is that something you more prefer, being a little heavier guy? Or do you like a little bit more low end out of this? But you also said it maybe got you a little bit more tired.
I think this motor, well, I've only ridden this bike once now, so I've got,
Yep.
what, an hour and a half on it maybe. I mean, I like this motor. It's got the punch that one lacks. You know, in map 1, that is their stock map.
Yep.
It seems very similar, but more bottom end,
Yep.
just a little more bottom end. Signs off a little bit, so it's a little short as far as over rev. When you go to map 3, it's definitely pulling harder than the Husky.
Wakes up a little bit more.
Yeah,
pulling
definitely.
Power. Yeah, so map 2 is more of a smoother power, map 1 standard, 3, they call it a harder hitting power, but what I found out for me, map 3 is a little bit shorter. It spools up quicker, but shorter than map 1. So for me, I'm always a map 1 guy because I just get that length that I like. So for me, the engine, look, it's not the powerhouse in 250 class. It's not going to beat the top end like Gardner said of a Husqvarna or a KTM. It's not going to beat the low end of a YZ250, but it has a nice, healthy, crisp, low-end feel, so I do like that. But I just wish it pulled longer. Look and I don't know if you noticed this, and you can tell me if you have. Third gear is a very strange gear. They did help that along a little bit the last year or so, but for me, third gear is almost non-existent. With the stock gearing, I almost go from second to fourth on this track because I'm jumping the hip in the back, and then I'm giving it gas, and third gear is so short. So I almost just want to go second, third, fourth really quick. So I use fourth gear a lot on this engine, which forces me to downshift into second in corners, which means I have to hit that thing twice before I downshift or before I go in the corner, which is kind of a strange feeling for my 450 ability, right? So I would like a little bit more low end or just a little bit of a longer third gear, and you can get some of that for me if you drop a tooth in the rear, but then you will suffer a little bit from the low end. Did you notice anything about third gear at all? Was it usable for you or was it not noticeable?
It didn't pull as well as I thought it was going to.
Yeah.
So I would just kind of, you know, fully rev out second gear, like going up Glen Helen.
Yeah. Which we ran the whole hill today, right?
Yeah, we were running the whole hill. When you click into third, you know, it's not quite
as long as you
as
want.
long as I would like.
Yes. So, look again.
And then fourth, if you're clicking into fourth, the bike doesn't really have enough with my size.
Correct.
To then continue pulling well.
Yes. So, what we've noticed over the years, a muffler does help a lot. Yoshimura makes a really good muffler for this model. It does wake it up almost 2 horse, and it does give you some more snap as well in pulling power. So, if you want some form of a cheaper kind of horsepower, $800 or so for a stainless system, a Yosh system does really work really well on this. Now, going from the chassis side of things, steel frame to aluminum frame, any big changes for you just hopping on this thing for the first day?
Well, I'm also riding a steel frame that's got 35 hours on it.
Yes.
Definitely this frame feels stiffer, a little, you know, dare you say maybe a little harsh.
Yeah.
You know, I changed the suspension a little bit compared to where you had it. That helped a bit. Then I wanted to back off the clamps on the
torque settings.
on the torque, and
Yep.
you said no, let's drop the fork.
Yep.
And that seemed to calm it down a bit. I think compared to a steel frame, steel frames are they're supple, they're plush.
A little bit more compliant.
It's just, yeah, more compliant.
Yeah.
But this bike is not bad. What I do realize when I rode the RX, I thought the bike was very stiff. I have a bad habit of always going up on fork.
Oh, okay.
And dealing with the head shake because I want my bike to turn as best as I can.
Yeah.
And I think that may have been a big issue of what I really didn't like when I had the RX.
Yeah.
Knowing now, I mean, going down the 2.5 mils on the fork made a big difference.
And it didn't hurt your cornering?
No, cornering stayed the same, and that entering into like the 180-degree turns that had a lot of braking bumps, I felt very unstable. The bike just didn't feel planted. In elongating the fork, dropping it down, that seemed to calm it down. I didn't think that was going to be perfectly honest when you said do that. But obviously, you know what you're talking about, and that helped the bike.
Yeah, so if you Honda owners out there, 450, 250, doesn't matter. Look at this bike likes to be longer. This chassis invites some of that. And some of you guys are like, hey man, I ride a short, ruddy, tight track. Look it doesn't matter. Drop that fork down. It's gonna help. It's gonna improve the ability of the bike to lay it over. This bike corners really good already, so it can lose a little bit of cornering. And when I say lose, I'm gonna use air quotes just because I don't think it really hurts it at all. But in theory, it should. But honestly, sometimes for us here in Southern California, it actually helps the bike lay in nicer.
Yeah.
So for me, it calms it down. What we call cornering stability is when you're inside the corner, how well this bike settles into the corner. Dropping the fork height does help that cornering stability of a Honda chassis. So coming from a Honda, I know a lot about this chassis. The track toughness and the wide window isn't that much. So the window is fairly narrow. So having that fork dropped helps widen that a little bit and gives you some more comfort as well as stability. So that is something that you guys need to do when you have this chassis.
Yeah. I mean, I did not appreciate any decrease in its turning ability, whether you're, you know, on edge coming into area 1, in 2, finishing out the turn in area 3. The bike turned well, and I was surprised dropping the forks, it was going to still do exactly what it was doing before. I liked it.
Ergonomically, for going from an Austrian bike for here, you like this Honda better?
I would probably change the bars.
Too high.
No, the bend I like is, I think it's the Yamaha bend.
Yep, like SX race bend.
Correct.
Yep.
I prefer a little bit, and I think that's actually taller, isn't it?
Yeah, this Fat Bar 839 on the stock Honda is a 92 millimeter height. SX race about 87.
Oh, okay.
So you want a little bit of a lower bend.
I mean, I'll definitely ride these.
Yep.
And if it was my bike, I'm gonna ride this pair until I bend them.
Yep.
And let's face it, the way I ride, stuff's gonna get replaced as time goes by.
So overall, what I guess people want to know, is this bike as fun to ride as an Austrian bike? I know it's your first day, but just hopping on
Yes.
it, you still makes you want to go ride this bike.
Absolutely, I'm stoked to have this Honda.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the different things we can do with it, play with it. I really look forward to riding it. I had a blast.
Has a little bit more pickup than the
Definitely
Austrian
has
bike.
a different power.
Yep.
Something different to get used to and you know, just experience. I like it.
So for one thing, reliability, we talked about that in the 450 video. It's hard to beat a Honda reliability. Look, KTM Husqvarna's come a long way. They do a great job as well. But Honda reliability is excellent. For me, you guys want to know, like the Works Edition, this does come with a cable clutch. It's not a hydraulic clutch like the Works Edition. I found out and did some research. You can put the Works Edition parts on the R model for about $800 to $900, and you can install the hydraulic system on there if you do want that. So an extra little less than $1,000 cost, you can get a hydraulic system. I personally don't mind the cable clutch. You come from a hydraulic clutch. Do you even notice this when you ride it?
I didn't even notice it.
There
The
you
only
go.
thing I did notice, I'm not a fan of the grips.
Yeah, Eddie said that about the 450. Look, it's stock grips, people. You can go buy $15, $20 half waffle Rentals and be done with it. And they're glue-on, so they come off really easy. They're not lock-on, so for a glue-on grip, they do come off really nice, unlike a Kawasaki where they feel like they're welded on. So that is a nice touch. Overall, it's hard to beat. Honda looks, it's red, it's sexy. No problems catching your knee braces or anything in these holes in the shrouds.
I did not notice that.
Okay, I do it sometimes, so some people do, some people don't. It's just hit and miss, but I do from time to time. But overall, everything else, seamless, gripping the bike is excellent. One thing that I don't like, and maybe we can talk about really quick, Pirelli tires. I normally don't mind Pirelli tires, but with the 190 rear tire sizing, it's really hard to get traction and be on the edges of your tires. Here at Glen Helen today, it's hard pack, loose on top. I would prefer a Dunlop MX-34 or maybe a MX-3S front or even an 82 front. Pirelli does have a new MX-32 mid-soft, but that doesn't come on this model. You came from Dunlops to here, you noticed that?
I notice on edge, the front end doesn't feel as confident.
Yes.
It feels, on my 3S, I kind of know when it's going to go, and I don't feel that very often. On this, there are definitely a few times where I would feel the front end move. And I think that's just being on edge and releasing. And it does it quickly.
Yes. Yeah, it's really
Kind of catches
abrupt.
you off guard.
Yes. Brakes. You coming from a Brembo, really good brakes. Nissan, Honda's high quality brakes. Any noticeable change there?
No.
Okay.
It's still great.
There you go. You came from a Brembo to Nissan, and he doesn't notice it. So you guys out there that love a Brembo, this thing is really strong, super touchy, and has a lot of power. So for me, this is a quality front brake and rear brake, one of the best Japanese brakes you can get. All right, we have some extracurricular activities here. I brought my kid in here. He doesn't normally help me on these tests. He has a little bit, but you haven't in a while. Don't mind the name on the jersey. Just bypass that for right now. He's a working man today, so you haven't ridden a Honda in a little bit.
I haven't, no.
You just hopped on this thing in the day. So for the younger kids watching this, instead of just two old dudes talking about a 250, give the younger crowd what it's like to ride a Honda.
Well, I mean, you instantly think of a Honda, you think of Jet Lawrence and Hunter and Chance, and
it makes you want to ride a Honda when you see those guys ride.
Exactly, and then you want to know if you can ride like them too, right? So that's probably the first thing that I think about when I hop on a Honda. Right away, I was really impressed with how much power this thing has right out of the box. Obviously, I've been riding a Cowie for a long time, and man, I was really impressed with how.
So enough low end for you?
I would say so, yes.
Okay.
For a stock form, like if I'm a kid coming from a super mini class and I'm still a little small and I'm gonna ride 250 limited this year, honestly, this is probably what.
Yeah, you don't have too much where it's gonna get away from like a Yamaha.
Exactly.
But then it's smooth enough to control.
And you can put the map in it too. Like we had map 1 in it.
Yeah.
And I like map 1 the best just because of how much bottom end it had. It did lose a little bit of mid to top coming down to some of the straightaways. So when I went to the second map, it
map 2 or map 3?
Map 2.
Okay.
Lost a little bit of bottom, but I gained more mid to top. But for me, I'd rather have a little bit more bottom just because I like that grunt.
Yeah. Chassis, look at coming from a Kawasaki, kind of stiffer nature chassis. Honda, stiffer nature. You notice any? I kind of told you off air, like, were they similar? You said, yeah, they kind of felt similar.
They felt a little bit similar. I would say this would be a little bit more stiff. Bump absorption.
A little more harsher?
A little bit more harsher compared to my Cowie, but I also have mounts on it and everything. Yep. So I felt like if we were to go to give it a fair chance, I feel like they'd feel pretty similar.
Look at you. First thing you came off the bike, talk about the cornering. Tell the guys how good this thing corners.
So it's been a while since I rode a Honda, and man, front end steering on this thing is crazy. Usually, I haven't rode a Pirelli tire probably in a long time too, and I was very impressed with that as well.
Okay.
Is how much I can feel the ground.
Well, there you go, a Pirelli fan. All right.
Yeah, it wasn't bad actually. Okay. I haven't ridden one in a while, and I was very impressed.
Okay, so lean, like when you tip this thing over, it tips in nicer or easier?
Tips in really easy compared to my Cowie. I do notice a little bit on my Cowie, I kind of have to fight it a little bit in area 1 just to get that tip in. This just tips in really nice, and the edge of the tire too really tracks the ground really well.
Last thing, wrap this thing up here. Ergonomics and vibration, do you notice any more or less, or just sitting on the bike, does it feel similar to the Cowie, or how do you feel?
It feels similar to the Cowie. I mean, I am going to agree with Doc though. I am out on the grips.
Okay.
The grips, I did notice my hands
You guys
hurt.
are big grip sticklers, like, it's just stock grips.
But I'm saying, if you're an average consumer guy, like, you're buying a motorcycle, you're spending, what?
10 grand.
10 grand on a motorcycle.
Yeah. You want some good grips?
You want some good grips.
I don't know, man. I feel like if I got 10 grand, I can get 20 more bucks to get some grips. That's just me. But I mean, maybe you're a kid and this is your first motorcycle and you're spending all your money. I get it.
I mean, think about it. You get a new bike and not a lot of people put mods on it right away.
That's true.
So
unless you're vet guys, and that's all we do.
Unless you're a vet guy like Eddie and you're putting titanium and twin wheels on
carbon, right? Yeah, that's his love language. All right, so look at not a bad motorcycle for you for a stock form. You like it?
I like it.
Suspension was too soft? Was it okay?
No, actually it was fine.
Similar to your Cowie stuff?
Similar to my Cowie stuff, yeah.
Okay. All right. That's the young teenager opinion. If you guys want to know more information here, Kris at KeeferInkTesting.com. That's Kris with a K. And if you're a youngin' and you like to annoy your parents, but yet you like to ride dirt bikes, Aden, A-D-E-N, at KeeferInkTesting.com. That's his email. Hit him with a question. Make him work. Like, I need him to work more. So throw him some questions about the Honda. It's fine. He can answer them. And then get back to me, make sure he answers them correctly. 12 issues, $30, right there on Racer X magazine. Things that you can't read online. There's stuff in the magazine. It's great. How's magazines treating you? Yep, there you go. Doesn't read them. There you go. All right, Glen Helen, everybody.
Honda guy.
There you go. Stay tuned for more information right here on Racer X's website. And don't forget, I'm here to help. Our door is open to help you right here. That's why we created Keefer Inc. Testing. We collaborate and we try to help you guys out there, the new bike consumer. See you on the next video.